Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Man United Agenda. Tonight, we'll be discussing De Gea will be staying at Manchester United. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Man United Agenda. I'm Solo 7, and we're joined by on Monday, Talk MU, Big Phil, and always a special guest, Jay Motto. Hello, everyone. How are we doing?
You just call me Jay Motto.
Jay Motti. I keep saying Jay Motto, Jay Motti.
A special guest whose name I don't even know.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. You know what? It's my thing. I need to sit there and do my pronunciations a little bit better.
I'm famous for butchering names. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. It's my catchphrase on the channel. I always say I have to apologize, especially when people put in the comments in the chat and I can't pronounce the name because I'm an idiot. So I'm constantly saying apologies if I butchered your name. Or even I can pronounce the name Motti.
I know. I apologize, Motti. I apologize.
Whatever you don't do a watch along, we're going to remain.
Don't do a watch along, yeah. Never do a watch along with me. I'm terrible.
Me and Solo are actually going to do, we're going to do the Czech Republic against Romania on Switch. On the channel, right? So make sure you check that. That's coming soon, yeah.
I beg you, Jay, not to do that because I'm telling you, it'll be calamity. It is a car crash waiting to happen because I'll be getting everything wrong.
It'll be you can get cancelled the first.
So is it guys, David or David De Gea?
Pardon?
Is it David or David that we're starting with?
I'm pronouncing it as David okay. De Gea. I'm pronouncing it. So it's okay. But remember on Monday, you did it the other week with Ole. Not going to say. Not going to say. Oh, yes. We'll keep that quiet. So, yeah. Okay, guys, let's kickstart the show. We're talking about David De Gea today, and 30 years old. For me, I still believe he's Man United number one, but there's a device against fan base. So because there's a device regarding fan base, I thought it'd be a very good subject regarding, is it David De Gea or is it Henderson? David De Gea is on 375k a week. I honestly don't believe there's any clubs out there that can afford his wages, even if he was to go out on loan, unless Manchester United pay the full loan. So let's start off with Jay. Jay, being around Manchester, knowing a bit more about the news and everything, do you believe he will stay at Man United, at least for this season?
I mean, I'm not ITK by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I don't have any sort of inside info. Only you guys will know as much as I do in terms of the news. It's what you take from that news and what you sort of form your opinions based on it. And my opinion is that the fact he's not gone yet, the fact that isn't any sort of concrete rumours or stories or reports about an offer for him, about a club being in for him. We heard in the summer that there was a lot of clubs linked with him. PSG, obviously they've done a rumor now. That's not happening. Juventus were looking at him. Apparently, there was a few other clubs as well. I forget who. You know, I think one of the German clubs as well. So he was well sort of sought after according to reports, and it all died down. And other clubs have done the business. Other clubs seem to everyone's training now. Obviously, the season's about to start, and it looks like everyone's sort of settled on their keeper. So I'm not seeing anyone coming in now for David De Gea. Now, don't get me wrong, it can happen. It can happen late in the day. And it may even take something like, a couple of games in and maybe Ollie looks at it and goes, or David De Gea looks at it. But the fact I think Dean Henderson isn't available as well. So I expect David De Gea to start the season for Manchester United. So I don't see him going anywhere in this summer. Maybe in January, if he's not getting game time, if he feels like, okay, I'm definitely number two. Because Ollie's come out in the past and said, it's a nonsense what he said. I've got two number ones in Dean Henderson and David De Gea. You never have two number ones. I don't even like the idea of swapping him for the European games. I know it worked in the past with Sergio Romero in 2017 when we swapped him in for the Europa League and we obviously won it. But if you look last season, I think Dean Henderson, for me, should have started every game if he was going to be number one, including the Europa final. And I think he saves one of those penalties. But Ollie obviously got his own way of working. I just think, in answer to your question, and I've gone around the houses a little bit, I think David De Gea will stay this summer. And I think it's still maybe up in the air a little bit. I still think Ollie favours Dean Henderson, but the fact Dean Henderson isn't going to be available for the start of the season should give David De Gea one last chance, and I mean last chance, to prove he is the number one at Manchester United. Because I'll end on this. Let's not forget here, we would not be having this conversation if David De Gea had kept up his pre-2018 form. He was the best keeper on the planet. He was. But he hasn't been for the last 2 years. That's why Dean Henderson's had a chance. Dean Henderson should be nowhere near the Manchester United number one spot when he's got David De Gea in front of him. David De Gea should be untouchable. But for the last 2 years, we've not seen the David De Gea of old. And I think that's why we're having this conversation. So maybe he's got a chance to prove himself, but I don't see him going in the summer, possibly January for me.
With Jay, what Jay just said, back in the early 2018 sort of season, he's won 3 player of the season for Man United. So that's how much we have relied, and that's how much we've relied on him throughout the season. And all of a sudden now, fan base is sort of like want to get rid of him now.
Well, I think I agree with what Jay said there, and the fact that we're getting in, Varane, the back, them two in front of him are changing up. So that's going to have an impact on his performance, in my opinion, as well. He's going to see that what's in front of him, and he's going to up his game, I think. And I think he should be starting for me. I think he should be starting because we know what he's got. We don't know, like Dean Henderson, it's a bit of a gamble, isn't it, to be fair. Don't know exactly what he's got on a consistent basis because he hasn't been in a consistent basis for us at United. So for me, like Jay says there, he gets a run, De Gea. He's going to get started, no doubt about that. So if he takes up the baton and runs with it and builds up a good relationship with the two in front of him, and they build up a good relationship, then he could very well cement himself back in there, and it could be very difficult for Dean to get back in or even get a chance.
With it on Monday now, we've talked quite a lot about it and about goalkeepers commanding their areas. Dean Henderson show glimpses of how commanding he can be, sort of coming out, catching the balls and sort of getting at the players. With sort of like what Talk and Jay just said as well, it's inevitable for him to literally start this season as number one.
Who's that, Henderson?
No, De Gea.
Well, yeah, because Henderson's out at the moment, but I would have been starting with Henderson. I think we have to compare, like what Jay was saying about this form for the last few seasons. It's sort of dipped a little bit. And I'm looking at De Gea and I'm saying, are you exuding confidence? And the answer to me is no. Henderson, however, he's very loud, he's vocal. We've seen him with no fans in the stadium. You can actually hear him, organising defence, having chats with Maguire, really vocal. And I like that in a keeper. And he's big and strong, comes out, claims everything. So I like Henderson. I'm hoping that now we've seen the evidence that he can perform, that he will be the number one. And last season we saw he started playing Premiership games ahead of De Gea. That spoke volumes for me. So it's like he's trying to edge him out. I think what the problem is here, a bit like Martial is, when you start paying players on form good wages, they get comfortable. And now we're in a position where De Gea's form has dipped and it doesn't represent his wage, I don't feel. So now's the opportunity. I think they should be considering letting him go. We've got Tom Heaton in, just like Villa got Liam Bailey in and the other guy from Norwich. As that was just basically to say, yeah, we're selling Grealish. Now we've got Tom Heaton in, and to me that's a big indicator that we are going to sell De Gea. And he's been a great servant. He's been one of the best in the world at one point. But at the moment, even at 30 years old, doesn't show that sort of confidence for me. And I think Dean Henderson's number one now.
Big Phil, Henderson or De Gea? I know who you're going to go with here because I think a lot of us are going to agree with De Gea is still Man United number one by a country mile. You're mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Perfect. First things first, I will never get Jay's name wrong because he is the bald and the beautiful. I will address him as that, okay? The bald and the beautiful, okay? If you can't pronounce Jay's name, just say the bald and the beautiful. Second thing, okay? What Omonde said, the only reason why Dean Henderson was number one choice in the Premier League is because David De Gea had a baby.
Oh,
don't forget that, okay? David De Gea had to fly back to Spain to be with his firstborn. So if your number one goalkeeper is not there, you're going to go to number two. And I'm not talking about shit. I'm talking about Dean Henderson, okay? Dean Henderson is number two keeper for Manchester United, okay? That's the only reason Dean Henderson got a play inside of the Premier League, you know? And that's why he kind of got a play going on to the end of the season, because David De Gea was slowly but surely getting accustomed to being, one, a father, and two, coming back to the EPL, right? So, you know, having a firstborn baby will still have some sort of like emotions on you, even playing for the club, right? So, as Jay said, pre-2018, David De Gea was the best keeper in the world. This is a guy that displaced Iker Casillas. There aren't much people in the world who were in the same bracket as Iker Casillas. Yeah, you can call Buffon. Yeah, you can call maybe John Oblak, right? But at the end of the day, David De Gea displaced Iker Casillas from the Spain team, right? Has he had a dip in form? Yes, he has, right? But David De Gea is only 30 years old, and 30 years old in goalkeeping age, in goalkeeping years, he has at least a good 5 to 7 years of him. Y'all forgot what age we signed Van der Sar at from Fulham? Think about that, right? For me, David De Gea is number one, right? And he will find that confidence now that he has Raphael Varane and Harry Maguire in front of him, okay? Also, Manuel Neuer, I forgot to mention that. Somebody mentioned that in the comments. But anyway, Raphael Varane, Maguire, David De Gea will now see that there's a solid back four in front of him, and he will gain that confidence again.
Sure. Jay, were you putting your hand up because I saw it? Did you want to say something there in the middle of the comment, or were you right?
Dr. Phil's kind of half right with the baby thing, but not quite. Because let's not forget, Henderson was in that team months before David De Gea had a baby. He had games in the club and in the league. The problem you've got here, and this is the elephant in the room, neither Dean Henderson or David De Gea have had a great season. No. They haven't. They just I personally think Dean Henderson's had a better season, and I think it was I forget your name because on your thing it just says talk rise against racism, made the point about the relationship with the defence. I think Dean Henderson has a better relationship with the defence. The defence looks more confident when they got Dean Henderson behind him. I look at the game against Everton and as an example of David De Gea, just all over the shop, the defence all over the shop. I blame him for all 3 goals. I'm sorry to say about the 3 all at Old Trafford. But what happened was, Dean Henderson comes in against Sheffield United and makes a mistake. He gives the ball away in his own box. He gives a goal away. He's in and out of the team. He does okay. He does quite well. Then there's a game, I think it was against Milan, where it goes over his hand. So he's had moments where you go, Dean Henderson, he's had a good season, not a great one. So there's still that conversation. David De Gea comes in. Again, the Everton game just stands out for me. It was a poor game. There's other games as well. I think I might be looking at the
Leicester game as well too.
The Leicester game, sorry. Yeah, again, the old things of not commanding his area. It's just a thing. Leipzig away, not good enough. Not good enough. And again, I look at the relationship with the defence. You look at the last Leipzig goal. Should David De Gea come out? Should Harry Maguire make a move? There's no relationship there sometimes. They all look nervous around each other. And I see with Dean Henderson, the difference for me between Dean Henderson and David De Gea is David De Gea is probably one of the best keepers on the planet, but he doesn't think he is. Dean Henderson isn't one of the best keepers on the planet, but he thinks he is. Yeah. That's your difference. Dean Henderson walks into Old Trafford, right, so with his chest out, clearing his lines, going into players, just a bit of a lunatic, and sometimes he needs to tone it down, but he proper rates himself, and I don't mind that. I want my goalkeeper to. David De Gea, at times, looks like a rabbit in headlights, and that's the worrying thing, and neither of them have shone. I look at Dean Henderson against Liverpool. He literally almost, and I don't like criticising players over the top. I'm not trying to be funny, but he almost stands away from the goal and goes to Mo Salah.
Yeah.
Here's the full goals to shoot at. Now, don't get me wrong. I expect Mo Salah to score 1-on-1 anyway, but don't make it easy for him. Don't give him the goal. So, give him a shot. There's a lad on my channel called Adam McCullough who's convinced that Tom Heaton is actually going to get a chance. I'm not sure about that one. That's Maka, I think, being a little bit cute. But the reason we're having this conversation is because David De Gea, has had a dip in form since 2018, since that World Cup that someone was referencing before for Spain. And one thing I'll just finish on that because I know I've talked quite a while. the problem that David De Gea has when he had that tournament in the World Cup for Spain, he got a lot of criticism, not saving penalties, the Ronaldo free kick, I think, the one that went under him. But also, he hasn't got an ally in the Spanish press. If you play for Barcelona, you play for Real Madrid, you have at least one newspaper that's going to back you. Because they have their newspapers like Marca or whoever, and their set of fans who'll just be like, he's one of ours. David De Gea doesn't have that because he plays in England. So a lot of the press just hammered him. They hammered him. And he became like the whipping boy. It's all his fault that Spain did so badly in the 2018 World Cup. And it was pretty harsh, some of the criticism as well. It really was. For me, it was a little bit over the top. But I don't think he's been the same player since. I think you look around his form since then. You go to the Barca game, the City game, the Chelsea game, the Watford game, the Crystal Palace game, the other Everton game. There was a time in the first 5 years of David De Gea's time at Old Trafford where I could name his mistakes on one hand. I've just named 6 there in an 18-month period. So he isn't the same player. He's still a talent. He's got to take his chance. I think the main difference with him, and it amazes me to say this because it sounds so stupid to say this, from a player, as someone's just pointed out, he's 30 years old and has been Player of the Year for Manchester United 4 times. But I almost feel like he doesn't rate himself. And that's mad. But I do. I just get that impression.
Jay, let me ask you a question. Are you willing to risk Dean Henderson both in the Premier League and the Champions League that we'll be playing in?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I think if you risk him for one, you'd risk him for the other. Because if I'm risking him for the Champions League or for the Premier League, let's start with the Premier League. He's my number one for the Premier League. He's my number one for the Premier League because I think he's the best goalkeeper Manchester United have got. Yeah. That's why he's number one in the Premier League. Because for me, I want to win the Premier League. Now, I don't look at the Champions League and go, well, I don't want to win that. Of course I do. So he plays in the Champions League. You mentioned Edwin van der Sar earlier. Edwin van der Sar came to United. He was 35 years old. Did you ever see Sir Alex Ferguson say to Edwin van der Sar, we've got a Champions League game this weekend. We're playing Chelsea in the final, but you can sit this one out. No.
Never happened.
Never. Did you see him say to Peter Schmeichel, you've done well in the league, but we're playing Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. Don't bother with that one, son. You have a rest. No. Yeah, that's what we've seen with the likes of David De Gea and Sergio Romero and Dean Henderson in the Europa League and the Premier League. And it's caused, for me, it's a madness. You play your best goalkeeper in your big games or all your competitions. A goalkeeper who's 30 years old, the point I was getting for with Van der Sar, he don't need a rest. He doesn't need a rest.
Jay, did Sir Alex Ferguson ever had this sort of headache? Because let's look at it. Dean Henderson and David De Gea are competition. Who was Peter Schmeichel's competition? We don't know.
You say that, but yeah, Fergie did have it with David De Gea, and he drops in Flanders Lindegaard.
Exactly. I was going to mention that name.
He said, then this is one of the few times Sir Alex Ferguson has publicly criticised his goalkeeper. He said David De Gea's still got a lot to learn. Anders Lindegaard's coming in. Lindegaard came in for a handful of games, got drops again. David De Gea came in, didn't look back until 2018. So I get your point that for much of his career, you had Raymond van der Hau, you had behind Schmeichel, you had Thomas Kuszczak behind Edwin van der Sar. It's a no-brainer. Van der Sar starts and Schmeichel. The point I was trying to get to was if you can play a 35-year-old Edwin van der Sar week in, week out, you can play a 30-year-old David De Gea. Do you know what I mean? There's not a fitness issue there. You play your best goalkeeper for every game. And the only reason not to do that is if one of them's not fit enough or whatever or injured. This swapping for the Champions League is a nonsense for me. So whoever would be my first choice would be my first choice for both competitions. I wouldn't even drop him for the FA Cup, bro. I wouldn't. Yeah. I won't win that. I ain't looking to weaken my team in the FA Cup. Maybe the Carabao Cup, okay. But your best goalkeeper plays every game.
Chemistry.
So, guys,
you build
chemistry. Thank you.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was going to say, if you like and share, subscribe. We're going to move on to the next subject now because we know Jay hasn't got a lot of time with us. We're going to start off with Jay again. with Lindelof. Played 111 appearances, 3 goals, 57 win-loss is 21. Clean sheet, he kept 33. Goal conceded 100. Goal tackles, 108. Successful tackles at 58%. Armando normally defend him because he defended defenders, as always. Now we've got a new centre-back in to partner Harry Maguire. What is the future hold for Lindelof?
I'm amazed you knew all them stats off the top of your head.
I know, tell me about it. I'm trying. I know, listen, I've been practicing all day.
Done your homework there, bro. I'm impressed. Listen, Victor Lindelof, for starters, he gets a little bit of unfair criticism. He's not been perfect, but I think he is a good defender. And I think also, if we had a really out-and-out world-class CDM, like an N'Golo Kante, a Fernandinho, Sergio Busquets or whatever, then I think you could get away with, and I know I use the term get away, I think you could have Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof and still win a title. Now, you may laugh at that, but, Robert Huth and Wes Morgan won a title. It's doable. I don't think Victor Lindelof is so poor that he's not a title-winning defender. I just think with the lack of a CDM, you need probably a little bit of a step up from Victor Lindelof. Now, Raphael Varane is that. Raphael Varane is coming into a league. Don't forget as well, I love Raphael Varane. I was so buzzing when we got him. But he has had injuries. He has missed games. If you look at his last sort of, 5 or 6 seasons, I'm gonna have to do. I'm not like you, Solo. I can't just remember all these stats. Do you know what I mean? I know you have them all in your head. I should have just asked you how many games he's played because you probably just tell me. But he's playing 40 odd games, sort of the last 5 seasons or whatever. But in the league, he's missed a few games. There's been like 27 games, 23 games, 32, 31. So if he misses, say, 5 or 6 games in the Premier League, that's not a lot. But it's enough that you need a top draw defender to come in. Because those 5 or 6 games could end up costing you if you've got, someone who's not up to the job. And I wouldn't have a problem with Victor Lindelof coming in as second choice. I love Eric Bailly, but Eric Bailly just, he can't get a run in the team. You can't rely on a defender. Someone else earlier mentioned chemistry. Centre back is probably the one position in the team where you need that chemistry with your partner. You can get away a little bit with midfielders sort of coming in and out. Again, it helps to have that chemistry, but centre-back partners should know when one of you's going, when one of you's coming, who's marking who, how you work together, who's taking the ball out, who's dropping in, all that sort of jazz. If you're rotating that, it doesn't work. So for me, Victor Lindelof still got a future at Old Trafford. I like the guy, but I do think we needed an upgrade. Unless we got a massive CDM in, then we could have kept Victor Lindelof as a centre-back. If instead of Raphael Varane, for example, we'd have gone out and we'd have got maybe an Ndidi or maybe...
Come on, Jay, were we thinking the same there?
Yeah, like maybe that's it. Maybe. It's unlikely, but maybe that would have been enough. But I just think that without getting that CDM, that at the moment, at the time of this video going out, doesn't look like we're going to get. Then I think we do need the best defense possible, and that's Raphael Varane. But I still rate Victor Lindelof. Good professional as well. But let's not forget the guy plays wherever you ask him to, does a good job. Always, gives his all. No one questions his application. No one's questioning whether he's not putting in the effort or, isn't a player you can rely on. It's none of that. It's just whether he's got the very top level we need for Manchester United. Guys, thanks for having me on. I'm going to have to shoot. Jay, it's been an absolute pleasure. Next time, I'll be on for a bit longer. Thanks
I'll give you a shout. Thank you.
See you later, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jay. Okay, so let's go to Talk MU, just to finish it off there. Sort of what Jay was just saying regarding, obviously, he plays everywhere that he's been asked to play. But not only that, he's been sort of, I've criticised him throughout the season, but I've taken some of the criticism away from him because watching him in the Euros as well, I thought he did really well in Euros as well.
Yeah, look, I did say what I said about with Lindelof. Strength and depth is needed in that position because, like I did say with Varane, we're bringing in an absolute class player, but the rigours of the Premier League may well show themselves. Whether it be early season or mid-season, they may well show themselves, and we're going to need somebody in there to step in. So, and like Jay's just pointed out there, if this number 6 hasn't appeared yet, depending on what system Ollie's going to do, if he does go for a 4-3-3 to accommodate Sancho, and Martial, etc. And he's going to have to use Fred, isn't he? Because who else is not going to use Matic? He ain't got the legs. He'd have to use Fred. So, I'm just hoping that the arrival of Varane, is going to help Lindelof in training. He's going to watch him in training. He's going to, players talk to each other to learn techniques, to learn timing. I mean, Varane may well teach Lindelof how to be a little bit more, how should we say, sturdy against the opponent, because he is a little bit weak in that he does get bullied quite easily. And if he can just grow a bit stronger in that department, then we are going to need him. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So, Big Phil, with it, Lindelof, do we keep him as a backup or do we send him out?
I say keep him as a backup because at the end of the day, we need squad depth to win a title. Whether it's the Premier League, whether it's the Champions League, whether it's the FA Cup, we definitely need backup, right? Victor Lindelof, as I've mentioned, is similar to Scott and Fred. They're good, but they're not good enough to start for Manchester United. They're good for the bench, right? Just to allude to what Talk MU said, Victor Lindelof can learn from Rafael Varane to be a bit more sturdy, to be a bit more stable, because at the end of the day, Varane is passing off his knowledge that he's gained from the likes of Sergio Ramos and even Pepe at Real Madrid, right? So Victor Lindelof can learn from him. So I say keep Victor Lindelof on the bench, but not in the starting 11.
Yeah, play him a couple of games. Okay, to help the defense out on Monday, talk to us about the defense and what does Victor Lindelof brings to Manchester United, because you're always backing him, defending him as a defender.
Yeah, I think he's a top quality defender. His partnership, like Jay was saying, it's all about partnerships, centre back. And you need to be able to read the game together and talk together. I always felt last season him and Harry Maguire were the best partnership. I know people were calling for Bailey to come in because individually they like Bailey. He's athletic. He can. They feel he's quicker. It's all this thing about speed. But I felt them two were the most consistent. And we did have the team last season to win the league based on that defence. Our defence was fantastic last year, and we've added to it this season. So Lindelof, the only issue I had with him last season is when Harry Maguire got injured, he didn't step up and be that leader of defence. And I felt a couple of times one-on-one, I think it was against West Brom, they had the new striker signing they had in January, an African brother, and he was big and strong and fast, and he gave Lindelof a lot of problems. There's a few times where I thought, okay, Lindelof, you need to judge the game better and know players better. He didn't really know this guy, and this guy came and bullied him. Yeah. Apart from that, I really like Lindelof. I think he's a sort of player that we need to have in our team. Composed, you see his hairstyle, it's very neat and tidy. He's not unruffled, that kind of thing. He's like just a cool, composed, modern day defender. He's not like Vidic. He's not in that respect. He's just comfortable on the ball and does his job really well. And sometimes don't even know he's playing. That's how good he is, So I like Lindelof. And as Jay said, once Varane or someone needs a rest, you can bring him in. We should not be talking about Lindelof like that. I think Bailey is the one who's got issues with injury and all these other things going on with him that hasn't played over the last few years. He's the one who should be a title of this program today to say what are we doing with him. Lindelof should be a dead cert number 3.
Okay, so guys, if you're liking the content, please like, please share, please subscribe. Jay had to jump off because he's got another show to go. But what we're going to do now, guys, is go through some of the comments. So Monday, would you like to take some of the comments away, please?
Yes. Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing? Got a few comments here today. Kid Watch Anime, he says, I'm dead right now. He supported Barca since 2015, only because Messi plays at the club, made him love the club. He's now leaving after 22 years in modern football. He's been every Barca moment, like the 6-1, 8-2 loss. Love him. Long live Messi. That's a little tribute to Messi. If you don't know, he could be leaving on a free. Say hi to Miss Melina. How you doing, girl?
Hello, Miss Melina.
This is from Stephen. Stephen's talking about he's still running that same crusty joke for the last 4 months about De Gea and messing up in the penalty shootout. Big up Charlie Hibbert.
Big up, Charlie.
All right, so we've got full-time football evening from Ethan.
Ethan, hello.
Got a comment here from Jamie B. He says, doesn't matter who's in goal, the league and every cup competition is now effed. Now they've got Grealish. They're probably going to get messy. He's talking about our rivals, Man City.
Yeah, Man City.
Saying that all this doesn't matter. All this hard work. Barthez, United keeper. That was one person we had. I don't know how you guys went.
Don't even talk about it, but I think he was one of our worst keeper ever.
Yeah, I agree. This is Bargav. How you doing, Bargav?
Hello, Bargav.
Bargav says praying for Messi to go PSG. That's what the world needs to see. I think I'd like to see him in the Premiership, mind you. Highs to Bargav. Don't think Bargav PSG will walk. Yeah, if PSG get Messi, they're saying they're going to walk the Champions League. Let's talk about Man United. Let's talk about Man United, guys. All right, here we go. Andy Herbert. He says, I think, because we're talking about centre midfielders or the defensive midfielder. He said, I think if Man United did the type of Roy Keane in that centre midfielder role, you have the strength and depth in there. So Roy Keane, he would organise, wouldn't he? He'd drag everyone into position.
That's why I think we still need Ndidi in that position. I know everyone's talking about Declan Rice, but I think Ndidi would be the key.
And he also says, just want to say Arsenal are going to kick some butt this season. Oh, yeah, you did refresh my memory, Stephen. Thanks a lot, mate. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, everyone, for the comments.
Thank you, everyone. If you're liking, sharing, please subscribe to the Mania Agenda. Jay had to jump off early. He's got another stream in, so we need to go and jump on to his show after this as well to give him a like and if you haven't subscribed to his channel as well. But guys, this has been the Mania Agenda. You got myself Solo 7, you got Monday, you got Big Phil, and you got Chalk MU. And guess what, guys? We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock again. So have a lovely evening and thank you for watching. Share, like, subscribe to the Mania Agenda. Thank you.
Ciao.